I've been known to mess up in my time. I started with music in Temora, where I grew up. I learnt piano from the nuns and Miss Sweeney, a local piano teacher. They didn't think a great deal of me because I wasn't that keen on practice. I was more into figuring out what I could figure out. Did a bit of, my father was in the Salvation Army, and I learnt to play a brass instrument in the Salvation Army, which stood me in good stead after a while because I actually played the bass in the brass band, and it was easy for me then to take that into when I played later on. And I moved to Sydney when I was about 21, 22 on the railway. Left the railway after a while and started doing music professionally. And whether this was a good choice or not, there's an old saying in music, don't give up your day job, and I did. So I had to make ends meet the best I could. I first noticed when I was playing the bass one time that my fingers were not functioning properly. That was one early sign, and another sign when I was doing some exercise walking, and I used to notice after I walked for quite a while my foot wouldn't lift properly off the ground. This shows how my hands, the difference between how my right hand will fold right out but my left hand will not, which sort of makes playing the piano a little difficult. And my left side is more affected than my right side, so I tend to drop everything with this hand. I saw a neurologist. He gave me went and I did a bunch of tests, and the results of them came back as these white lesions on my brain and my spine, which is multiple sclerosis, which the words stand for many scars. He then explained to me what treatments were available at that time. I know it's old-fashioned, but I still like to grow a few things in the garden. It's sort of good for the mind and good for the environment.
There's a long green one there. Do you want me to get that?
No, grab that, see that red one there?
This one?
Yeah. These ones here, on here, are the habaneros. They're the 11 out of 10, and they've really got going this year.
This is only really
Yeah, it's alright, it's red, bro.
Look at that.
Yeah. Look at the size of these here. Look how, when they turn red, down in the middle here, look at the size of them.
Oh, wow.
For the first few years after diagnosis, I could walk around basically like a normal person, like with a limp, but as time wore on, I had to get, after much convincing by my family, I had to use a stick, which I did for many years, and then I realised after a while that the stick wasn't supporting me enough, so I had to move on to a walker. After using the walker for a few years, I've now progressed to a wheelchair, a manual wheelchair, and I also have an electric wheelchair. And the only problem with the electric wheelchair, even though it gives me the possibility of going anywhere down the town or anywhere in my yard where I live, the fact that I don't use my legs at all now, I have noticed a big deterioration in the muscle and the tone and just the ability to walk even in the house, which I use a walker all the time. I'm in training for the 2016 Paralympics. I've come up with my own set of exercises to strengthen my arms and upper body. I use the squeeze this ball, I bounce the ball, I wheel myself in the manual wheelchair. I bounce the ball to help with my coordination. Well, I'm hoping it'll help with my coordination, because the left-hand side of my body is the problem. As the illness has progressed, common things that you do every day in your life, like putting on a pair of socks, is a near impossibility on my own. Sitting on the toilet, brushing your teeth, shaving, they have all become much more, well, I can do them, but it's just so much slower.
Colin and I met in the late 70s, and probably not long after that he was showing the first signs of his MS, which was numbness in his hands and numbness up the side of his head. So he went into hospital for a week for tests, and they diagnosed it as a pinched nerve. And it wasn't actually until 95, after he had an MRI, that he was diagnosed with MS, and our daughter was probably about 18 months old at the time. At that stage, my level of care for Cole was administering an injection, which he was probably on that medication, I'd say, probably all up about 3 years, 2 different types of medication. We ended up stopping that because the side effects weren't great, made him quite aggressive. So he then decided that he'd just sort of manage the MS himself, with looking after himself diet-wise, etc. Cole still gets around, which is good, with the mobility aids. So my level of care now, aside from cooking and doing the usual household things, is dressing him in the morning. We have to put on, or he has to put on, compression stockings for his circulation. It's important that he wears those. And I also get him in and out of the bath. So I guess my level of care has progressed.
This is my family, beautiful daughter, my wife, my son, one of his better shots, my granddaughter, my other granddaughter, my son, his graduation day. We're a happy family, they look after me. MS places limitations on you over a wide range of things. I have a son who lives in Wollongong. My granddaughters are there. It's difficult to go in the car. We have to pack up the car with wheelchairs. I have bladder issues, which I will not go into any further than that. I think you'll understand what I'm talking about. And even to go out to dinner with my daughter and her guy and my wife here in town is limiting, because not everywhere has wheelchair access for a start, and when you've got to go, you've got to go. But sometimes if you can't get the wheelchair in there, they don't sort of consider disabled people. A lot of places don't anyway. Not everywhere.
This one.
Yeah, that's the good basil there,
Righto.
and this is the mint, and you're standing on the tarragon.
Oh, shit, sorry.
Well, it's all over the place. And look at the time.
Good one. Good one, Dad.
Here he is now. Oh, the halfback, I can see. Yeah. Good on him.
I think for most of the family it's been about just remaining positive throughout all the diagnosis and all the treatments and the progression of the illness. Just however shitty the situation may be, just remain positive throughout it. And for Dad, I think it's been pretty much about just trying to keep doing the things that he loves and be around the people that he loves, because there's no cure for MS, so I guess positivity is just the best thing that we can do. And I think being happy and, you know, enjoying good food and good wine and good music and good company and has kept him as sane as possible. Oh, well, would I say sane? Yeah, I get moderately sane.
The Dogs win by 1.
Yes. Go. One's enough.
Yeah.
And a 1-0 score.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise. Blackbird fly. Blackbird fly into the light of a dark black night.
I've been diagnosed with MS since 1995, and even though I've lost the ability to do a lot of things, I can still function reasonably well. And I know for a lot of people with MS, this is not possible.
Blackbird sing